worked for you. It said that your company or the work that you're doing was very sketchy. And now they're an informant.
A few minutes later.
Check your source, then.
I just want to talk to
your
you.
source.
I pray to God you're guilty.
The Constitution says you're innocent until proven guilty.
And that's
period. End of story.
What's up, y'all? It's Brian Keith, and I'm back with another video. Today, we'll be looking at the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, episode 13. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and just say this real quick because I think it needs to be said. Season 3 of Salt Lake City for me has been very much like ebb and flows. And I feel like for them to even get to season 5, 6, they're going to have to change up the lineup. Mary needs to come back. Bring Dana on the show because she seems like she got some type of sense. And they're going to have to cast. They're going to have to do something. Production's already cutting things like important clashes out of the show. Like the whole conversation that Dana had with Whitney, that was out. The whole situation with Dana versus Jen. Apparently that's out, so we got to figure out what's going on, because at this point, if they're going to bring Real Housewives of New Orleans, you can go ahead and just cut Salt Lake, because I really don't feel like people are watching like that anyway. So we got to figure something out. But y'all, like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into the video.
Yeah, let me check my shit real quick. Hotter than the fire coming out my flaming lips. You wanna play with me? You can't play in me. On the playground, bitch, you can't play with me. Got it, wanted, securing the bag.
So the episode starts out and it's still Black Eye Gate, and Heather is basically she's full of it, and she's over here just like, well, you know, my black eye, and you know, it's just this, joking around and just like just trying to have a lot of banter and satire about something that's very serious, and everybody's trying to figure out like, girl, what's going on? Like, do you really have a black eye? She's just basically trying to just avoid talking about it. And like I said, Heather's playing around at this point. And if I was production, there's been plenty of points in this episode where I feel like production should have been like, look, what's going on? Like, we need like change. Like, I feel like production's there for a reason to steer the story, and they just letting them do whatever they want to do. Like, none of these girls can be producers. Lise can't be a producer. Meredith can't be a producer. Whitney Heather can't be a producer. Jen definitely can't be a producer. So like, you know how they got girls like Kenya. Those type of girls can be like producers, but none of these girls can really steer a show. So I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. Dana speaks out to Jen. She just talks about, you know, their relationship and everything. And Dana's like, you know,
supposedly they know someone that worked for you. It said that your company or the work that you're doing was very sketchy. And they pleaded guilty to whatever.
I just want to let you know there's a guy that I know that is an informant. He used to work for you, and basically he took a plea deal and said that he was guilty, and basically he's speaking against you in trial. Jen's over here like, who is it? And Dana's like, well, you know, I don't want to say.
If you want to bring it, take it to the finish line. No, but I cannot. Well, then you shouldn't. If you can't, then you shouldn't talk about it.
And Jen's just like, okay, if you don't want to say it, then you don't need to bring it up. I feel like Dana should just went ahead and said it, because I feel like production would have bleeped it out anyway, because it's legal matters. But at this point, I'm just like, I always feel like Dana is a very clear, and she has a great way of communicating. So I feel like it's really easy for her to get her point across. The way she communicates is very much this, and this. It's like, you did this, so this is how I'm feeling, and that's why I did this. It's very clear, straight point, direct. And Jen, she gets up, storms off, because she's just like, you need to verify your source, just doing her big one, right? So she walks off, and they're in the bathroom. Inside is Meredith, Heather. They're all inside, and they're just like, don't let them get to you. Tell them that you know, your boob hit my black eye. Just making a very serious situation light, and they're trying to get mad. Like, she don't know you. She was just brought up here. And I feel like, regardless of the fact, I feel like Dana's just letting her know, like, hey, you know, because, you know, Jen comes back to the table, and she's basically letting her know, like, you know, the only reason I brought this up is because we've been having a rocky start, and I just wanted you to know why I've been on the defense with you, because I feel like there's somebody that I know that you did wrong, and this is what it is. I just feel like I can't trust you. But I like to see more of Dana in her personal life, so I would like to see her come back for season 4. I mean, literally, there's only 4 people right now that's confirmed to come back. So I mean, there's hopefully they do a big casting. Please. So like I said, the girls bring up if Jen is guilty or not, and Whitney's like, you know, if she's guilty and she goes to prison, you know, I'll do like conjugal visits for her. And I'm just like, girl, it's not conjugal visits, girl. You just go visit. Like her husband probably do conjugal visits, but not you, girl. And just ditzy for no reason. Like, girl, what are we doing? Okay, so it's the next day. The girls go back to Salt Lake City, and everybody's doing little montages of what they're doing. Whitney's outside acting like she's meditating, and then we head over to Meredith's house, and I call it the house full of monotones, because everybody has that, you know, West Coast vocal fry, like, yeah, so we're doing this today, and I have my, you know, fashion show for it's very much monotone, and just there's no inflection. I'm just like, eh. She basically tells about the charity that she has for her, that her nephew and her sister created, that she's going to be basically speaking at and showing some of her jewelry. Also, Brooks is going to be bringing some of his fashions to the runway, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully he has more than one tracksuit, maybe two. You know, I'm banking on two, because, you know, he only had one last time, so we'll see what happens. You know, she basically talks about how Whitney texted, said she couldn't come because of her daughter's birthday. Heather is up in the air because she haven't heard from anybody. You know, the girl's still healing from a black ass eye. Jen's definitely going to be there. You know, Jen been having a lot of mental situations going on and anxiety because of her trial. And, you know, Lisa bought a ticket, and she's very on the fence because she feel like Lisa's just doing it for the optics. But I mean, Meredith assumes a lot about Lisa, so yeah. So then we see Whitney sit down with her kids, and they bring out like the photo book, and they're looking at Whitney's old, like her younger pictures. And Whitney just looks like their older sister, not their mom. I mean, I guess that can be a good thing, because I mean, she does look pretty young. But, you know, she calls her brother, and they talk about her trauma. And the thing about this situation, because I forgot all about this whole trauma situation with Whitney, we still don't know what the trauma is. I just don't think she should have brought it up. I feel like maybe she should have, because I mean, like, a lot of these shows help other people in certain ways to, you know, cope with their situations or what have you not. But I feel like this can be triggering, and also I feel like she could have just, her storyline could have been her reconnecting with her brother and her sister that she didn't grow up with. I mean, that could have been easy, instead of coming up saying, oh my God, I have this trauma and something so bad happened to me, and it makes me want to fall out and cry, but I don't know what it is. That's contradicting, and it's weird. But I mean, her brother asked, do you remember your trauma now, after, you know, having some time to do a little bit of soul searching? She's like, no. It's confusing. And I'm just like, at this point, whoever is the showrunner or producers, I hope either we get new producers, or y'all need to be a little bit more aggressive with these storylines and tell people, what are we doing? Because these scenes don't make no sense. What y'all talking about don't make no sense. And yeah, we need to figure something out. In her confessional, she talks about, you know, sometimes friends grow apart, and, you know, sometimes we grow with each other or grow apart. And that's something that I'm dealing with right now, because like I told you guys, I am moving, and I have like majority of my friends, I feel like we're growing together. We're all succeeding. You know, I'm moving to an entirely different state, landed a job within a company that I absolutely love. It was in my top 3 companies I wanted to work for. So, and all my friends are doing amazing things as well. We're like traveling all over the country to different places for work. And like I said, I feel like we're growing with each other, where there are some friends that you feel like you're growing apart from, and you're trying to hold so tight to it, but it just seems like the universe is trying to split you guys apart. I don't know. I'm feeling that right now. So I resonated with that with her, but you know. We travel over to Jen's house, and Jen is basically talking to her therapist, and she's like, yeah, you know, this trial is giving me anxiety, and my brain is just going crazy. I just don't know what to do.
But today, what is the government going to send over to us today? I'm at an even deeper and darker place.
And I feel so bad for my sons, because, you know, my son, he is basically going through, seeing his mother, going through all this stuff. And I have so much guilt because I brought my younger son, Omar, into this. And is he messed up because of this?
As a mom, like, have I done something where it's affected Omar, where he basically, did I my kids up?
And she just basically goes on about how Coach Shaw's in the car crying about her potentially going to jail for 11 years. My whole thing is this. We already know that she's guilty, period. She pleaded guilty and changed her plea to guilty. So my whole thing is this. I'm not even trying to be insensitive because at the end of the day, I've never been through this. I knock on wood, pray that this never happened to me. But my whole thing is, if this was such a concern about your kids, the well-being and all this stuff, then why do it in the first place? Easier said than done, I get it. But being that she was, quote unquote, people are saying that she was the mastermind, this is alleged, but for her to be the mastermind of a telemarketing scheme that stole $17 million from people, for her to now be over here talking about, oh my God, my son, my husband, you didn't think about them. We was over here buying over, what was it, $1 million of fake knockoff bags, jewelry. Like, you didn't think nothing about that. Over here throwing $80,000 parties, $30,000 parties. You didn't think about none of that. You didn't care about the victims. And we over here have reports of the victims over here talking about they went into debt, they lost their they ruined their credit, they lost their apartments, their homes, all this stuff because of somebody just being greedy and wanted to be on TV. And at the end of the day, I can give her empathy because, like I said, I still don't want to see her go through this, but at the end of the day, she needs to be held accountable, and that's just what it is. Period. Okay. But one thing about Coach Shaw, she's saying, like, you know, Coach Shaw has stood beside me and this, that, and the third. But did he know? There's this whole situation going on that I talked to. A lot of people got on my Instagram and we talked about it and talked about how Coach Shaw, did he know? You know, if Erica got dragged through the mud because her husband stole $80 million from people, then why isn't Coach Shaw being held to the same standard? My whole thing is, I feel like Coach Shaw has always been a support system in the background, just supporting his wife. He never really gets into her finances. He never speaks about the finances. He never been flashy and all that stuff. Doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's wrong. But I'm just see it as, like, with Erica has been very boisterous, very gaudy, very over the top with everything, and has been relentlessly unapologetic. And this is my opinion of how I see it. When she's on the show, she's over here accusing that there might not be victims. She's over here saying that, well, you know, been very stoic in the way that I can respect the fact that her telling people, I want them to go get due process and go to the courts and saying, you know, I didn't defraud them, Gerardo Keys did. Cool, and I can respect it and I understand that. But at the end of the day, you have no empathy for these victims and your husband distilled the money. Where I feel like Coach Shaw has empathy for the situation, but nothing has came where she's innocent or not. So he can't really, you know, she hasn't been, during this time on the show, she hasn't pleaded guilty. So it's like he's just standing behind her, you know, thinking that she's innocent. So, I mean, I feel like that's where the difference comes in. But I mean, I wonder how he feel now, being that she pleaded guilty. You know how foolish she looked this whole season. Been saying, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. About to beat people for saying that she might be, alluding to the fact that she might be guilty. But she's like, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. And it turned out she went in there and pleaded guilty. Girl, bye. So we are at Meredith's charity fashion show. And she has many different designers there, including herself and Brooks. You know, she's showing her jewelry, and Brooks is showing his collection of, I guess, streetwear tracksuits. So Dana and Angie show up, and Meredith says, walks over to them, and she's just like, you know, I'm not mad at you guys, but she said, I did not the fact that you all over here took the information and then ran it back to Lisa, because, you know, I'm not mad at you guys, but, you know, I'm not mad at you guys, but I'm just disappointed.
I'm not mad, but I'm disappointed. In hindsight, I wish I would have said, hey guys, I don't want to be involved in this. I should have. I'm not mad, like, I'm moving on. She
said it about 5 times, and just like, girl, we get that you're not mad, you're pissed. Cool. You should have just said that. And I feel this was her way of scolding them. It's Angie K, and from what I've seen, Angie K is flip-floppy and messy. So, but Meredith was very passive aggressive, and, you know, they just took it, they ate it. They were just like, yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, I understand.
I actually still seem kind of mad, Meredith. Well, you probably have a million people that want your time.
I understand. I'm just like, ooh, it could have been me, because you're not my mama. You're not going to talk to me like you crazy. I don't know who you thought, but no, ma'am, that's not what it was. Jen actually walks in with her husband and her son, and she actually looks gorgeous in all black. Her hair was great. I think this was like one of the best looks Jen had all season. Lisa struts in. She's just like, just acting like nothing, like she's not literally going to someone that despises her party, right? You see Angie K go to Lisa and tell Lisa that Jen and called Angie H, and they're trying to basically, you know, reconcile their relationship and get together with the husbands and stuff.
Showed up, and Angie shared that Jen had reached out to her on FaceTime and trying to mend things with her.
And to be honest, I don't see a problem with that. I mean, trying to hold a beef out for all season can be irritating. So I just feel like this yet again, Angie K running something back that really didn't need to be. And I feel like a lot of these new girls, minus Dana, are really thirsty to be in the spotlight on the show. Like, I feel like Dana, Angie K, and Angie H knew that, okay, we're on the show, this is our audition. I feel like somebody because they all, even Dana at times, because I feel like Dana really went in on the Jen situation, but I feel like now we know that she had that information, so I think that kind of makes sense a little bit. But I feel like they all knew, like, hey, we're vying for a spot on the show. It makes sense now. But the fashion show starts, and you know, we saw a glimpse of Angie K's husband, and he's kind of fine. Don't hold me to it, but I mean, he looked like a handsome white man. Meredith gets up and she speaks about the mental health and addiction charity that her sister and nephew Alex started. You know, Alex, he went through a lot during, I guess last year. That's why Meredith was like a little bit unhinged. I mean, she had a lot of stuff going on with her, the passing of her father too. But, you know, they created this, so she's going to just basically headline it and talk about it. So like I said, all the work start coming out. They start modeling, this, that, and the third. So we see that Brooks has his body of work, and it's nothing groundbreaking. It's track suits. It's probably something that Sheree would have did. But to be honest, I'm never going to down somebody's hard work. So I'm going to commend him for actually putting together a body of work and bringing it out, and has his brand up there. So I'm not mad at it. Is it anything that's like,
oh my God, America's not top model Vogue? Bitch, no.
But I mean, I could commend that. But you see Jen and Coach Shaw go over to Angie after the fashion show with her husband, and they give them a check for $13,000, because that's how much I assume the invoices that Angie K sent over. And the funny thing about that is, how in the world did Angie K have all those invoices that she did her big one during that interview, where she had all, like, she owed me this, going ham, right? Cool, that's fine, whatever. But they gave you the money back, and now you're over here doing a confessional post. This is after this event, doing a confessional, basically talking trash like they didn't even just give you the money. And then you over here is like, let me go run this to the bank just in case the government frees her account. It was funny, don't get me wrong. Today we see Heather and Whitney get together. She brings a gift for her daughter. This is at the end of the episode, and they go outside and they talk about basically the pause on their friendship. Heather's pissed off because she's like, you know, I didn't know we had a pause on our friendship.
To find out that, like, we were on a friendship break you'd never told me about. It was like a stab to my heart, you know?
But my whole thing, Heather, y'all been, from the beginning of this season, they've been lying on each other. They've been cussing each other out. Heather pushed her twice. But now you're shocked that you have a pause in your friendship. And I'm not saying that Heather's wrong or Whitney was wrong. I mean, Whitney made up the whole lie in the beginning. So I just feel like for you just to be like, oh my God, we had this pause in the relationship. And then Whitney's trying to figure out who hit her in the eye. She's like, well, I know, but I'm not going to tell you since we have a pause in the relationship. And this is what I'll be talking about. Like, at some point, let the mouse go, and let's go ahead and talk about it. Because do I feel like it's ever going to get revealed? Probably not. And this is what I say about production. Production asking questions, but they're asking all the wrong questions. Instead of saying, who hit you? We want to know
now.
We pay you $1 million to be on TV, and you over here not telling us who hit you? So it's irritating. And that's why I said that I don't know what production is going to have to do, because this Salt Lake, this season for me, it was pretty good. There was ebbs and flows. I feel like the trailer for Salt Lake actually was better than the season. Shocking. But I stuck with it. But something's gonna have to happen, because I'm over it. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, and get out in the comments. Peace.